Monster collectors and roguelike fans, this one's for you. On paper, Aethermancer should have been the next breakout hit. Gorgeous pixel art, tactical combat, and the pedigree of Monster Sanctuary behind it. But after dozens of hours and waves of community feedback, a pattern has emerged. Players love the concept, but they're frustrated with the execution. So today we're breaking down the top 10 things gamers dislike about Aethermancer. This isn't a takedown, it's an honest look at what's holding back a game with huge potential. If you've ever been blindsided by corruption, lost hours to a punishing boss, or wondered why your run feels the same every time, you'll see where the frustration comes from. Dislike 1. The corruption mechanic. This system defines Aethermancer, and not in a good way. Every hit your monsters take permanently lowers their max HP until you swap them out, but replacements come under-leveled, gearless, and nearly useless. The mechanic was meant to add tension, but it just forces players to build around shields and specific traits, removing creativity and punishing experimentation. It turns team building into a balancing act of damage control instead of strategy. Dislike 2. Harsh and random difficulty spikes. Enemy scaling is all over the place. 1 minute you're cruising, the next you're getting one-shot by a random Naga or boss ability. Even defensive builds crumble under crit RNG and inflated enemy stats. Players describe it as punishing without being fair, a wall that stops progress cold instead of encouraging smarter play. Dislike 3. Runs that drag on too long. Runs regularly stretch beyond 3 hours, with the same maps and monster pools repeating every time. The pacing kills replayability. What should feel like quick bursts of roguelike experimentation instead becomes a marathon grind. A shorter, sharper structure could keep the tension high and the burnout low. Dislike 4. Limited monster variety and team viability. Each biome has only a handful of monsters, and the strong ones dominate every run. Capturing new creatures is restricted by rare items, so you can't experiment freely. Losing a monster mid-run is devastating since replacements start weaker, breaking your synergy and slowing everything down. The result? Most players end up using the same 3 monsters over and over. Dislike 5. Clunky map exploration. Traversal is one of the most common complaints. Instead of clean node-based movement, players wander through empty corridors, dash over awkward ledges, and collect coins that don't matter. Exploration feels more like padding than discovery. For a game this tactical, the overworld adds friction instead of flow. Dislike 6. Confusing UI and poor battle forecasting. The interface hides crucial information. You can see what enemies plan to do, but not when they'll act. There's no visible turn order, status icons are buried in menus, and predicting outcomes feels like guesswork. Many players say a simple redo turn button or a clearer combat timeline would instantly make the game smoother and less punishing. Dislike 7. Shallow equipment and loot system. Each monster gets 1 equipment slot, and loot rarely feels impactful. Legendaries barely outperform commons, and items rarely change your strategy. For a game centered on synergy and customization, this design makes every reward feel flat. Players want to tinker, not just equip the same stat stick every run. Dislike 8. Lack of content feels closer to an extended demo. NPC portraits are missing, maps repeat, and there's little reason to replay once you've seen the 3 biomes and the final boss. The combat system is strong, but the world around it feels unfinished and empty, especially compared to Monster Sanctuary's charm and depth. Dislike 9. Weak progression and reward loop. Roguelikes thrive on growth, that sense that every run makes you stronger or smarter. Here, progress is microscopic, meta upgrades barely change gameplay, and worthiness grinds feel endless. After several hours, you realize your power level hasn't really improved, which kills the motivation to keep pushing forward. Dislike 10. Price versus value. At nearly $22 USD, players expected more content or variety. Instead, they found a short early access game with limited replay value and unfinished systems. When other indie hits like Hades or Stardew Valley launched cheaper with far more depth, it's easy to see why players feel shortchanged. The foundation is solid, but the value just isn't there yet. Aethermancer isn't a bad game, it's a promising one trapped in its own systems. The art, music, and core combat are genuinely excellent, but corruption, pacing, and balance keep dragging the experience down. If the developers can rework corruption, speed up runs, and add more freedom to experiment, Aethermancer could still evolve into one of the best monster-collecting roguelikes on Steam. For now, though, it's a game with great bones and a community waiting for it to reach its full potential. What do you think? Is Aethermancer still worth keeping an eye on, or has corruption killed your hype? Let me know in the comments and stay tuned for the next one, the top 10 things Aethermancer actually gets right.